So I know a lot of you are missing having your eyebrows dyed while we're in lockdown. So I'm going to show you how to do it yourself at home. I would always advise normally to do a patch test first. So if you're going to order a product online, when it arrives, make sure you mix up some of the tint, apply a little bit behind your ear, and then wait 48 hours before you actually do your eyebrows, because the last thing we need, especially right now, is for you to get an allergic reaction and have to go to A&E and put the NHS under more pressure. So make sure you patch test first. What you're going to need, you'll have your box of dye. I'm going to use this home kit by Eylure. You'll need your eyebrow kit. You'll need some dry cotton pads, some wet cotton pads, some dry cotton buds and wet cotton buds. And also, if you've got a fine angled brush, like an eyebrow brush, that will come in handy too if it's got a spoolie on the other side too. So first things first, what you need to do is pin your hair out of the way. So if you've got a fringe, make sure that it's pinned out of the way, because as you wipe the dye off, you might spread it into your hairline and the dye is actually permanent. So I actually have quite dark brows already, but I'm just showing you for the process purposes. So once you've pinned your hair away, you need to cleanse your eyebrows. So just use a makeup remover or micellar water. It's just to remove any oils away from the skin and any makeup that you might have on there. So take that away. Then you'll need to mix up your dye. So you need a tiny blob of the dye or the powder, or however the kit comes. Just follow the instructions. Please read the instructions on the box before you just plow in and do your treatment. And then this, I'm just going to add a couple of drops of the activator. I just need to make a paste of this tint, a little bit like a mayonnaise texture. So mix that properly. You really don't need a lot at all. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start applying that as neatly as possible to the eyebrow hairs. If you're not going to be very steady-handed or good at this, then I would advise getting some Vaseline and just putting it round the edges, anywhere that you don't want the tint to be applied. So I'm going to start brushing that through my brows, so making sure it gets underneath the hairs as well as just sitting on top of them. So the process is very similar to just having your hair coloured. Because it's on your face, you just need to be a little bit more careful. So that's using the brush itself. But if you're used to putting brow makeup on and doing your brows, you can also use an angled brush. And sometimes people find this a little bit easier because they're used to this long handle on here. It might give you a little bit more precision and you can paint it on a bit more perfectly. So either option is fine. So I'm going to use the brush because I want to be a bit messy with it and show you what to do if you kind of get it all over the place. The reason you need, it just takes a bit of practice, but the reason you need to be neater is if you do get it all over the skin and you don't take it off, then what happens, it can actually dye the skin and stain it a little bit for a few days and it just doesn't look very nice. So if that does happen, like I've got it a bit messy here and there, I take a dry cotton bud and I'm going to neaten up everywhere that I don't need that tint. Okay, so however feels comfortable to you, just clean up round the edges. The good thing with dye is it will dye all the hairs that sit under the brow as well, all those fluffy, fine, blonde facial, you know, the vellus hairs. So it kind of gives your brows more oomph. Even me, I've got dark brows, but mine will look kind of bolder and a bit fuller when I've dyed them. It's also really good if you've got like multi-toned hairs. So for a lot of blondes, you'll have warm hairs, ash hairs, there'll be light and dark, you know, tones in your brows, so it just makes them look more even. So with dye, it can stay on anywhere between 30 seconds and 15 minutes. The longer you leave it on for, the more permanent your result will be and the longer it will last, but the darker it will be as well. So if you just want like to even out the tone of your brows, you're going to apply it and leave it on for about 30 seconds. So I usually find that a couple of minutes is long enough on mine. If you're not sure if it's dark enough, what you can do is get a cotton bud and actually just wipe away a section and just see if it's dyed them to the colour you want them to be. So you want to take it off when it's nearly as dark as you want it. So I think that's dark enough for me. I don't like my brows to be too dark. And I'm going to take that away with dry cotton wool. Be careful as you're wiping it away that you don't kind of drag it into the hairline, because it will dye the hairs as anywhere you put it. So just be careful as you take it off. So dry cotton wool to take it off. If you feel that it looks too dark, then get some wet cotton wool and just wipe over it, and that will just neutralise the colour. Okay, and that's your brow dye done. So a lot of people say as well, when I have my brows dyed, it doesn't last very long. I have a product line called Eyebrow Queen. A lot of you know that already. And I have a product called Brow Fix. And what I do with that, once I've dyed my client's brows, or once I've dyed my own brows, if I want it to last longer, I can apply the Brow Fix. And what that will do is it will just one drop of that. If I coat it onto my eyebrows, what that will do is it will seal in that colour and make that waterproof, so that when I wash my face later, if I avoid my brows, that will make my tint last a lot longer. So brush some Brow Fix through, try and leave it on for 24 hours, and actually just applying that every day will make your tint last that little bit longer. You usually get an extra week out of it, I find, if you use Brow Fix daily. And that's your brow tinting.